Hey everybody, welcome to episode 26 Between the Lanes. I'm Ralph.
I'm Ron.
Today we got a lot of just miscellaneous things to talk about, get our thoughts on, discuss.
And Ralph might earn $1.
I don't know. That's a little far. That's gonna be pushing it.
Okay.
So, all right, you want to get us started off with the race results?
Sure. Let's do the race results. All right. The Ohio Oval Series was at HMS in Bellevue, Ohio. And in the IndyCar class, Elmo in the center was your winner. Dennis Murray on the right was second, and Dan Richardson was third. In the 4-inch stock car class, Keith Nelson was your winner. Alex Stoudinger was second, and Dennis Murray was third in that. And in the dirt late model class, Dan Richardson was your winner, with Alex Stoudinger second and Elmo in third. The AWRA was at Hobby Max in Durham, North Carolina. They raced Sportsman and Outlaw Legends, and it was the same podium, same top three in both classes, with Daryl Jones in the center of the winner, Charles Eldridge on the left in second, and Bobby Prout was third. The NorCal Slot Car Racing Association was at Slot Car Raceway in Rohnert Park, California, home of the 2018 USRA Division II Scale Nationals. And in the 4-inch NASCAR class, the advanced podium was Jeffrey Cohn in the center, Terry Faulty on the left, and Nikki Shackelford on the right of the screen there. Expert was Dennis Rios. Howard Smith was second, and George Hopper was third. And in the pro side of things, Justin Colvin was the winner, Herman James second, and Ted Essie third. 4.5-inch trucks advanced. Jeffrey Cohn was the winner, Mark Bauer second, and Garrett Norcutt was third. In the expert 4.5 trucks, George Hopper was the winner, with John Wilbur second, and Jeremy Stouts was third. In pro, Justin Colvin was the winner, with Gary Hooks on the left, a former USRA 4.5-inch scale national champion, and Ted Essie was third in that as well. LMP in the advanced portion, Jeffrey Cohn was the winner again, with McCutcheon in second, and Bauer was third. Expert Howard Smith was the winner, and I'm just laughing at Russ Toy over there, giving him rabbit ears. George Hopper was second, and Russ Toy doing the rabbit ears was third. Pro LMP was Jason Hooper, Justin Colvin second, Herman James third. In the GT12, I guess there was only just one advanced racer in that class, and Jeffrey Cohn was the winner there. So I guess, Jeffrey swept all the advanced portions of the classes.
Now, you mentioned the NASCAR results. Are they using one of your bodies this year as the handout body?
Yes, but they don't use that in this series.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, at the Scale Nats,
okay.
Yeah, the out-of-sight 2K stock car body is the handout body for the Group 10 class at the Nats this year.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so that was Jeffrey Hare's GT12 Advanced. Expert GT12 was Casey Shackelford was your winner. John Wilbur was second. Howard Smith third. And wrapping it up with the Pro GT12, Jason Hooper was your winner, with Justin Colvin second and Herman James third. Penn Ohio Retro Series was at Mark's Model World. No pictures, but in Can-Am it was Greg Fox first, Willie Custer second, and Ricky Bernardo Jr. in third. In F1 it was Greg Fox winning again, with Will Custer second again, and Cap Henry in third. And all I know about the stock car race was Dan Ebert was the winner and Aaron Plosnick was second. I don't know who was third. I apologize, but that was all I could find. So BRS was at Fast Tracks on the 95-foot black, known as the Bull Ring. And in the retro angle winder class, this is a photo of the top three overall with I won, Craig Scharfenberg was second, and Chris Earnhardt was third. And in the big dog, because we run either big dog or FK motors, so 4 entries, 3 of them were big dogs. So I was the big dog winner. Craig was second, and Rich was third. Rich T. And Chris Earnhardt, the track owner, raceway owner, was the winner of the FK portion.
And he has a Tony Pacos bun.
Yeah. And then the Can-Am, you got a good eye there, Ralph. And the Can-Am, I won. Craig was second. Richie T was third. And F1, I won with Rich in second, and Craig with third in that. And you said Pacos, and Pacos donated 3 buns.
Oh, okay.
For the weekend's events.
That was not a setup. I had no idea.
No, I know it wasn't, but he had a good eye. So in Craig on the left, he was the winner in Can-Am. Richard T was the winner in F1, and Chris was the winner in the retro angle winder class. So 3 guys got their buns. Of course, there's, we talked about my bun I signed, I don't know, a month or 2 ago.
Oh, they got it up?
And my bun has been enshrined. So, when you go into Pacos, they have these all over the place, all over the restaurant and bar area, and then this is basically that's a wood frame, and it's got 8 buns in it, and it tells you whose buns are in there, and a couple of local newscasters and some Star Wars people and some Lucasfilm people. I think the most famous person there is probably Leslie Odom Jr., who's an actor and singer, and I actually had to Google him because I've heard the name, but I didn't know. But till he's still not that famous. I mean, I don't know. He never really had a #1 hit song or anything like that. But so my bun is placed right inside the front door.
At least it's not hanging above the urinal.
Right, and I have approved it. So there you have it. So,
cool.
Alrighty then, moving right along. The Ronnie Spencer Memorial Race was held at Millstream Raceway at the Ringwood Slot Car Club over in the UK. And couldn't really find much details on this, but they said the UKRRA class winner was TJ, and the vintage class winner was Will Stenham. And Dave Wright, they said, won the big trophy. So I don't know if they had an overall deal winner, but hopefully next week maybe we'll have some photos of some winners and people. So, and then the B&E Crosstown Challenge Series was at Mid-America Raceway. Super Stock was on the LTD. Neil Eisler was the winner. Dave Goss was second. Ken Eisler was third. And then they ran the dirt late models on the oval. And Neil doubled up with a win there, and Jim Kreider was second, and Dave Goss was third. So that's your boom winning report. And, but wait, there's more. So this is your cue, Ralph.
Sunday.
You do that so good. This coming weekend, we've got races all over again. Ohio Challenge Cup is at Mark's Model World in Canton, Ohio. Central Illinois Slot Series is at Speedville in Bartonville, Illinois. The Mid-South Series is at Archdale.
And are you going to either one of those?
I can go east or west. But I think I'm staying home.
Okay.
Well, if I go west, they're looking at like 5 inches of snow. And I don't know about going over east, but I'm going to take the weekend off. Penn Jersey is Sunday at the Race Place in New Jersey. We got the JPM Hard Body Challenge at the track in South Bend, Indiana. B&E Crosstown's at Chicagoland. Retro East is at Hudson Valley Raceway. Southern California Retro Racing Association is at Buena Park Raceway on the flat track. And the Florida Slot Car Series is at P1 Raceway this weekend. And a lot more races next weekend, but I don't have a list of all those. So we'll get you caught up on next week's show. But if you go anywhere this weekend racing, remember to wear your seatbelt. And you could earn your dollar right now, Ralph. But that's all, folks.
That's all, folks, yeah.
That's all, folks.
So,
it was funny she didn't wear the seatbelt. I thought, you know what? We always talk about telling people to be safe when they're going to the races. So,
right.
Seatbelts.
Yes, indeed. Jigsaw, she was not a good example because she did not have the seatbelt on, though.
I think you're kind of speechless after looking at that.
She had maybe the airbags were gonna. She had some airbags were gonna help her out, but so all right. So the other week, I think it was MG Brown posted.
I'm gonna give you another look at that, Ralph, before we leave.
Oh yeah, there we go. So why are you trying to distract me?
Because that's the fun part of the show.
Okay.
So MG Brown.
I believe it was him. He posted a link to an article. Ford had a king track set up.
I think.
And they were donating, money to a cause, basically.
Right.
But what I found was really interesting is, where nobody seemed to know about this, right?
Correct.
Nobody knows where the track came from, who made the track.
Correct.
Or anything. It's pretty interesting that there's so little information about it. But it got me thinking, there's really been some slot car races in some pretty cool in different places.
Yes.
So what are some of the cooler or more unusual places that you've raced or seen races happen?
Okay, well, we'll go back and I'll tell you a little story. A long time ago, back in like the late 70s, early 80s, before I was into slot car racing, at one of the malls in Fort Wayne, the local RC club used to set up on Thanksgiving weekend, and they'd have races, I guess probably Friday and Saturday and Sunday, in the middle of the mall. The mall's packed because it's like Black Friday, even though we didn't call it that back then. But, the mall's packed with thousands of people, and there's these guys racing the RC cars, and, it really got good exposure for them. I don't know about the sport of RC racing, but as far as the local club went, a lot of people found out about it because they raced at a school every Wednesday night or something, I think was the night they raced. So they weren't out in the public eye because there was like no RC raceways, or it's just a club that somehow had an agreement with the school. They would set up the carpet in the gymnasium, and they'd race on Wednesday nights and roll the carpet up and go home. So the only way they could really get more people into their club was to have this event out at the mall.
Right.
So after I started slot car racing, I would always think back to the RC guys in the mall and how it'd be cool to race slot cars in a mall. And there have been slot car tracks in shopping malls over the years. I used to go to one that was up in Maryville, Indiana. Fort Wayne had one. Elkhart, Indiana had one. There was like a little chain of NASCAR collectible stores called Turn One, and they had slot car tracks in them, and most of those were in malls. So prior to that, I think it was 1992, the Canadian National Championships was in a mall up, I think, around Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And I went up to that race, and we raced in a shopping mall. A guy had put a track in, and just thousands and thousands of people checking it out. It was really cool. I guess to know that people were watching or were interested in it. So it was kind of cool. Got a lot of exposure.
Did it make you nervous with somebody watching her or anything?
No, it was kind of cool because I remember above the track, we were probably on the ground floor, and then there was a second story in the mall, and above the track was like this cutout in the floor with railing around it up there. So you could look down on the track.
Drop some pennies down on you.
You could drop pennies or spit or whatever water balloon or something. But yeah, it was kind of cool because every time you looked up, there was like all these people, checking it out, and people around the track, and because it was a hill climb, so people that were on the backside really couldn't see much. It was kind of limited. But
right.
Better view when you went upstairs. And I have videotape from there. I need to get that converted someday to DVD.
Like actual VHS?
Actual VHS tape, yes. And was taken with a big old camcorder.
Yeah.
From above. And you can actually see who's leading the race and follow the cars. It's that good a video. But
cool.
So that's probably the coolest place that I ever raced in, was in the shopping mall. And then in 1996, we had the Fast Ones 500 race in the mall in Fort Wayne at Turn 1. And, the track is in a I don't know what you don't call it a building, but you don't call it a room either, but a store. And the track was in the store. But, I mean, it was kind of funny because when we weren't running cars, there was no noise, and there wasn't many people. But as soon as the cars were running and people could hear them, they would come in to see what was going on. And there was hundreds of people that came through that day. So that was kind of cool. And then the year after the Canadian Nationals in the mall, they had the second Canadian Nationals at the Toronto Auto Show. And that was another thousands and thousands of people spectating. And we ran Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And that was pretty cool. And
would they just have pit stations roped off so people couldn't
there would be a roped off area around the track and the pit area so people couldn't walk up to boxes.
That's the only thing I never liked about racing at tracks that were inside shopping malls, is you got a lot of it's good that you got walking traffic, but a lot of times people would just walk right up and just start.
But we never had any reports of anything missing or stolen. So.
I mean, I've seen kids walk up to the controller panel and just start pulling the trigger. Somebody leave their car on to go get something,
right.
And then the kid walks up and just bam, explodes the car.
Yeah. And I think then probably the second coolest races were probably in motels.
Right. Motel
races. We did several Challenge Cup races in motels. We did.
I would really like for to be in one of those again soon. I think that would be really cool.
We did the 94 USRA Nats in Atlanta. And then I believe the 2007 Scale Nats, I think that Mark Green was involved with, in Lusconi. They did that in the hotel in Philadelphia, and there was a couple of Amsler Nats there.
The Amsler Nats were in Philly, the hotel in Philly too, yeah.
Yeah, and so...
I don't remember what year those were.
Yeah. And I think the most recent hotel Nats, didn't Jim Williams put on that flat track retro Nats? The first year was in a hotel?
Yeah, they put the 5-track up. Now, the Amsler Nats, there were some good stories out there because some people almost went to jail over that. So there's a lot of interesting stories came out of that race.
Well, I mean, and if I'm right, when we go to Durham in a couple weeks for the FNRS race, that track was Lusconi's track, and that was used at the Amsler Nats hotel.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think it was used at the USRA Nats. I could be wrong, but
I don't think it was at the USRA Nats, no.
Okay. So, yeah. That's another show, the history of the USRA Nats and maybe the tracks that were used and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool to see the progression of tracks and see where it ultimately went to King Tracks, I guess.
Yeah. So that's kind of...
What year did it kind of really switch over to all King Tracks, basically?
Well, I have to have the book in front of me, but I mean, in 74, 75, they raced down at Jim Honeycutt's place, and that was on the Engelman track. And then '76 was on Joel Montague's The Cayman King track. And I think it might have been on American Red after that. It's because the Nats have been held on American Kings, Engelman's, Purple Mile one time, twice on Reds, on Alltech one time, and I think everything else has been King tracks. So then it went to Haase Kings and Ogilvy Kings and.
Well, I remember Roger had them maybe 05 or 06 or something. He had that corner climb.
Yeah, but okay. When you were talking, I was thinking more wing cars than I was scale cars.
Yeah. Okay, I got you.
But yeah, the scale Nats have been on various tracks.
Yeah.
And there's been scale Nats where there wasn't a king track, where there might have been a hill climb and a flat track. I mean, I think every scale Nat since '96 has been held at a raceway that's had a scale track, along with a high speed track or a bank track.
Right. Well, that corner climb track was like kind of a unique track, though.
Yeah, it was real unique.
Yeah.
But like for example, when we went to Portland in 2004, they had a hill climb, the flat track, and an oval. There was no king track, but that was a scale Nats.
Right.
So, but going back to the wing car thing, it's been on king tracks since sometime in the 80s.
Right.
In '84 Nats at Clovis was the last time it was not on last time it was like not on a king track except for the '90 Nats, which was on a Purple Mile. So, and ever since '90, if I remember correctly, it's been on a king track.
Yeah, I can't. The Purple Mile is the only one I can think of that wouldn't have been a king in recent years. Yeah.
Right. That was last time, 1990.
Okay. So, we give the race reports from some of the races across the pond and whatnot.
Right.
Where it's mainly club track racing. I mean.
Okay, so time out.
Okay.
That was another cool race too. Was the 1997 Israel Worlds. When it was in England, was in a shopping mall too. So
okay,
yeah, we talked about that before too. But that was in a shopping mall, so
right.
Lots of spectators there too. Wasn't a real busy mall, but it was kind of a mini mall.
Right.
But we had a lot of people checking it out. So go on with your.
No, I was just saying. I mean, with so many places outside the U.S., basically, they seem to be going to the club track format. I mean, do you see that? Do you think that's kind of where we're ultimately headed, or?
Well, okay, so
why hasn't that really taken off here like it does there?
Okay, so basically everything overseas is pretty much clubs.
Right.
Okay, I mean it's been that way for a long, long time. A lot of countries, the rent is so high in a public setting that it's just unaffordable to even try and think of having a slot car track in a strip center or a mall or even a standalone building because of real estate pricing and rental costs are so high. So it winds up clubs like like I'm going to use the UK for example because they have a lot of clubs and they've had a lot of clubs over the years, but they can be in rented basements or maybe they rent part of a building, or maybe the club meets in a church one night a week. Clubs can be like anywhere where they can find space to put their track in and get together once a week or maybe once a month and hold races. So again, it comes down to the rent, the whole thing of either paying very, very little rent or paying more.
I feel like it's less of a...
And so you got to understand, too, like...
less of a gamble, sort of. whether or not you're going to make your rent payment. Because I mean, if you figure out how many members, you only need so many members to pay so much money, and then you're guaranteed your rent payment.
Right.
Like, oh, I hope somebody comes in today and buys something.
Right. And another thing about the UK too, you got to remember that if you say okay, 100% slot racing in the UK, like probably 85 to 90% is 1/32 scale electrics, which I don't know how many, if there are very many, 1/32 scale electrics clubs only.
Not many, but there are some.
But we hear about the clubs because, we know the guys run like commercial type 1/24 type cars,
Yeah, I mean, like we have one in a mall here by my house,
Right. But that's like 1 in a million in the States.
Right.
Over there.
But it's been in this mall for many, many, many years too.
Right, and I hear it does quite well.
Yeah.
So, like, again, when you want to get onto a bigger track and more lanes, club tracks vary anywhere from 3 lanes up to 8 lanes. And then, again, they're usually pretty small tracks. And it's just usually a local group of kind of hardcore enthusiasts that want to race that stuff, no matter what it.
Yeah, I mean, here it seems to be more, instead of a club in a commercial building, it seems to be more, like you said, like diehard racers, and somebody happens to have a house big enough they can put a track in, and it's kind of like a basement track, more than a real club setting commercially,
What we have here is we have a bunch of HO clubs, because there's tons of HO tracks, raceways, whatever out there in people's basements and garages, and they have weekly races or monthly races, and but it's kind of like underground, if you know what I'm saying, like they're not in the public. There could be a group in your town that gets 30 guys to race every week, but you wouldn't know about it because
never know. Yeah.
It's not open to the public or whatever, or
Right.
There's no storefront.
Right.
It's at the end of the cul-de-sac on the house on the left, in the backyard, in the
garage behind the house.
Yeah. So, you say, well, I wonder why all them cars go down there on Wednesday night. Well, there could be a slot car track down there, but
yeah.
So yeah, we're kind of the opposite. Like the majority of our clubs are HO, and we have a lot of like 1/32, 1/24 clubs in the United States. But there's more clubs overseas because of rent and things versus here. Because in America, we have a glut of buildings that can be rented cheaply.
Right.
And people, find a cheap building and they open a slot car track.
I mean, I always said for us here in the States, I mean, the best track owners are the ones that don't need to rely on the slot car track's income to live.
Right. I mean,
those are always the tracks that are around the longest.
Right. And I think everyone goes into business to make money. I'm not, a lot of people go in business to become rich or whatever, but not every business is going to make you rich anyway. But
sure.
I guess, a lot of raceway owners, thank God, they, as long as it pays its own way.
They just want to try to break even.
Yeah, if they can break even, pay their bills, and they love the sport, hobby, whatever you want to call it, and they have time to do it, that gives the rest of us places to race.
Right.
But I think when they start losing money, then that's when they close, because it gets depressing, I'm sure. If you're not paying your bills and you're working your normal job and taking money from your household and everything to keep the place open, something's lacking somewhere.
So do you think that the clubs should be able to buy from distributors at a full discount?
I don't think that's right. I mean, this would be my opinion, but
and this is kind of off topic, but
it used to be a long time ago, clubs got sold to at 20% off.
Right.
Not the full discount, but they could make a little bit of money and not take away from maybe a local raceway. Because it's a double-edged sword. You could have a guy out in the middle of nowhere with a club track that has no slot car track within 200 miles of him. Maybe he should get a full 40% discount because he's not taking anything away from anybody.
Right.
But if I open a slot car track in town, and 3 months later you put a track in your basement, and you can buy it 40% off, and you start selling to my customers at 20% off, you're making a little bit of money, but you're taking away from me. Is that really fair? I mean you could open a club in your house to buy parts at 40 off and then go race them at the raceway, and now you're not spending any money at the raceway other than buying track time or paying entry fees.
I mean, I guess the other part of it, if it's a club, should you even be allowed to buy a discount period? Should you just have to work out a deal with the track?
Well, again,
I feel like that the club should have to buy from tracks.
Okay.
You know,
and like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's an opinion deal. But
yeah,
I think a club, if they have no track within 50 or more miles of them, they should probably get some sort of discount. How much that discount is, that's up to the distributors to decide, I guess.
Yeah, but okay, so if they don't have a track within 50 miles, well, yeah, but so what? Because they don't have a distributor within 50 miles. So what's the difference, right? You know?
Well, no, what I'm saying is if a club is not operating within a commercial raceway, say a 50-mile radius or whatever, then yeah, he should probably get a little bit of a discount. And and again, like I've had this discussion with someone else, and here's the deal. Here's another issue with clubs. I think if a club is only open to a certain group of people, like I put a track in my building and I invite 10 people only come over and race, and that's it. I won't allow anyone else in. We should probably not get a discount. But if I open a club and I have people coming in, bringing them into the sport, I'm open for new members, then maybe I should get a little discount because I'm bringing more people into the hobby. And I may have to.
I guess you have to take into account the fact that, I mean, are they even legally even, are you allowed to sell anything or resell anything?
Well, see, that's another thing too. And to buy from a distributor, in order to sell retail or resell, you're supposed to have a tax number and tax certificate and be registered with your state. So I would say if you have a club and you're not registered with your state and you don't have a tax number, then you probably shouldn't get any discount. But if you're registered and you're legit and everything, then maybe you can get a discount depending on if there's any
so that sounds like a good compromise, right? Like if you're a club and you're a legit business license or whatever, then maybe you can buy from distributors at a 20% discount or 30 or whatever. But if you're not, then you need to go buy from a raceway.
Well, in my opinion,
sounds like a good compromise.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, probably the way it should be done is clubs would buy from raceways and get a discount from the raceways.
Right.
And the raceways would get all the stuff from the distributors. And
yeah.
So it's kind of,
because I've known some raceways that they don't want to fool with ordering extra stuff.
Right.
And all that for a small discount, but then there's plenty of them that'll say, "Oh, well, I'll do it if you don't want to do it."
Right.
I'll do it,
Well, and then years ago, some distributors would not sell to clubs at all. You had to be a legitimate commercial raceway, but then there was one or two distributors that would sell to clubs as well. So, but you get to a point where if I'm the distributor that doesn't sell to a club, and I get these guys calling me. And I tell them no, and I know they're buying over here, and this guy's making all this money. Well, human nature, I want part of that. So eventually everyone starts selling to the clubs, or more sell to the clubs. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody because I don't know currently any particular distributor's policy on club sales versus commercial sales. But
we're not talking about anybody in specific. This is all just theoretical.
Right. So you know.
So in your opinion, what makes a commercial raceway a commercial raceway? Is it if they have a retail store? Like what if I go rent a space in a mall and put a track in?
Yeah.
But I don't officially have race nights. What if I just am open for rentals, right? Like, am I really a raceway still, in your opinion?
Yeah, you're still a raceway.
Okay.
Because you can list, we're going to race this night and this night, and people may not never show up to race. I mean,
Like,
yeah,
you can't force people to race there, right?
right, you know, right.
But, yeah.
So the thing is, like, your commercial raceway. I don't know what else you would call it. You know, where the AYZ slot car track.
I mean, you just call it a hobby. I guess you call it a hobby store or
you
something.
Call it a hobby store, right? I mean, and there are a lot of raceways out there that don't have really any active racing program.
Right.
So, but they're still raceways. I mean, they have the storefront, they have the tax number, and that enables them to buy at a discount from a distributor. But, you know, you've got raceways on a busy street with lots of front windows, and then you have raceways that are in industrial warehouse areas that basically have no drive-by traffic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
you have to drive through a maze of whatever roads and stuff to get to them.
You have to really try to find the place.
Right, but they're still commercial raceways. So, you know, it's always advantageous to be in a high traffic area, high visibility,
Sure.
to bring people in.
Of course, that costs more money.
But of course, that costs more money. You know, location. So, yeah, you know, I don't really know if there's a right or a wrong. I just think that some people they have to. Avon's calling. They have to determine what works for them and what it would take to open a raceway and keep it open. You know, it comes down to the overhead.
Right.
And like I always tell people, the lower your overhead is, the better your chances are at succeeding.
Sure, right. As long as you can still get people in the door.
But people got to be able to find you,
or figure out how to make money in other ways, but getting somebody in the front door.
Right.
Which there's a lot of tracks that have succeeded and succeed really well at doing that, and
right.
They're always the ones that put in the most effort and work. You know.
Yep. So, you know, it always comes down to the overhead. You know, as far as making it or not.
And speaking of raceways and whatnot, I read that Hudson Valley Raceway is going to be closing.
Yes.
I don't know when exactly they're closing, but.
And they do have a Retro East race this weekend, like we already said. So
yeah,
I guess this may be the last. Definitely will be the last Retro East race at Hudson Valley, but I don't know if it's the last race there. You know, I don't know what's going on. You know, I've just seen some going out of business, sell things and things like that on Facebook. So.
Yeah, I know he's got his track for sale. I think it was for $4,000.
I think it was
$5,000 for the King track, and I have not raced on that truck personally, but it looks really nice in the pictures.
Yeah, it was Mark Green's old King track. I never raced on it either, but everyone said it was a really nice King track.
Whatever happened with the track he got from Mimi? Did he find somebody to?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I wonder if he found somebody to take that off his hands, or if it's still sitting there.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And then
it's amazing, like in this day and age with all the social media that we have and the blogs and the websites, that there's so many slot car tracks that get bought and sold and people put them up, but there's never any information on them anywhere. You know, That still just blows me away.
Right.
It's like the tracks that were at Speed Zone. It's like they vanished. You know, somebody spent a lot of money and they're like vanished.
Well, supposedly they're on their way to Florida, but we don't know that. I mean,
right. And that's like the paperclip that was at Flashbacks. Like it got bought, and now it's like guys disappeared, vanished. Right. You know, I mean, are these tracks up, or are people backing out, or what? You know what I mean? It's
Well, it's just like
It's just amazing you can't find out information nowadays.
Well, it's like there's 3 American King tracks in storage close to Columbus, Ohio. That's been in storage since the '60s.
Right.
So, I mean, it's hard to believe people buy tracks and then put them in storage and they sit there for.
Sure. I mean, I know of at least 6 tracks in storage here by me, at least.
Right.
Just sitting there.
And see, the thing is, what's so funny is when a person closes his raceway, of course they want to sell their tracks. If they can't find someone to buy it, or maybe not give them what they want for it, then they put the track in storage.
You know what? There might even be like 8 tracks here in storage now that I'm counting them off the top of my head.
But see, here's the thing: if you put a track in storage, like a King track, I mean, you're going to spend about $100 a month to store it.
Sure, right.
Okay? That's $1,200 a year. Okay. In 5 years, okay, at $1,200 a month, you spent $6,000 to store a track that you might have only wanted $3,000 for to begin with.
Yeah.
So you're almost better off to give the track away to somebody that you know is going to set it up and use it for some kind of tax write-off or something. Or work out a payment plan or something.
Right, or at least loan it to them and
right.
have a place to go race or something,
I know one guy that I think got $8,000 for his track after he had it in storage for about 8 years. And then I said, well, okay, so it cost you $9,600 to store it that whole time and you sold it for 8. I said, you're $1,600 in the hole. Like you didn't even get your storage money back. So
yeah, it doesn't sound like a good deal at the end.
It's a good deal for the storage company.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're the only society that spends millions and millions of dollars to store things that aren't worth millions and millions of dollars.
Right, to try to preserve them or hang on to them or something.
I mean, I see sentimental stuff, but
sure.
I got this here NASCAR diecast collectible.
Right.
Got me 300 of them.
Right.
Paying $50 a month to store them. No.
Yeah.
You're losing money.
Well, I think part of that too is, a lot of people like to buy things and store things and say, "Oh, well, I'll just hang on to it for 50 years and be worth a lot of money then."
Yeah.
Like especially with collector cars or things like that.
Well, I mean, some things, yes, but a lot of things, no. It depends on, this day and age, really nothing's collectible because everybody markets it as collectible.
And if you look at like all the American raceways you mentioned, those have really, people who are holding on to those, they're really going down in value technically, because they're still being bought and sold now for what they were back then. And if you add inflation into it, they're really worth less now,
Well, yeah, it depends on the condition of them and stuff too.
Yeah.
So, but really, American Raceways track is almost kind of priceless because you can't buy an original. It's almost like an old Mustang or an old Camaro. You can't buy them, and when you find them, they're usually in such bad shape.
Right.
But you're going to spend a lot of money to fix them up. And then if you do find one that's already fixed up, you're going to spend a lot of money for that because it is worth something because it is rare. It becomes rare. And American tracks, unless there's 2,000 of them sitting out there in storage, when they come up every now and then, they're really rare. It's just something you just can't find every day.
Right.
So, it's like the old Barbie doll from 1964 that, those you just don't find those every day. But if you bought a Barbie 10 years ago and you still got it in a package, I guarantee you there's probably 1,000 more people that have that same one still in the package. So it's worth nothing because it's oversaturated and they're just out there.
Right. Okay. So before I forget, we have a couple giveaways this week. We're going to give away 3 packages of lane stickers from Mid-America. Each package will have 20 sheets of stickers in them. If Ron draws your name, you contact Roger at Mid-America, and he will send you the prize.
Okay, number 1 Ken Williams.
Ken Williams, okay.
I know he watches the show.
Yeah. He does
on a
some
regular
racing.
basis even.
He does some racing. He'll use them.
Winner number 2. Oh, this guy watches the show too. Jonathan Forsythe.
All right, Jonathan. Cool.
He won't want them because they're from Roger.
No, hold on. Now, it would be great if the next person was Justin Colvin.
No.
Oh.
Brian Ambrose.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go.
Yeah, that would be funny. Social media, once again.
Yes.
So I'm writing stickers. So Brian Ambrose, Jonathan Forsythe, and Ken Williams contact Roger at Mid-America for your 20-pack of Lane stickers.
Correct. So, all right. So we joke about that, and you mentioned social media, but overall, do you think social media has been good for our hobby, or I know a lot of times it gets a bad rap, and I'm guilty as anybody. You know, I mean, a lot of times it makes it so easy to say negative things. And it seems like a lot of people get caught up in a lot of the negativity out there. But I think that it's really, if you look past that, I think it's really benefited our hobby as a whole.
Oh, definitely.
More than, I think the benefits outweigh the negativities of the trash talking or the personal stuff that goes on, It
doesn't matter if it's social media per se. Because before social media, we had fax machines and telephone lines, okay? But not everybody could hear.
What's a fax machine?
Yeah, what's a fax machine? But the thing is, if there is no problem, there will be no discussion about it. That's what it boils down to, okay? So, like, social media has a huge power these days of, if there's a problem and someone brings it up, thousands of people know about it instantly.
Yeah.
Okay? And, a lot of people don't like Facebook or whatever. That's fine. But when you go to a race, look at who's at the races and where they come from. And if there's a lot of travelers there, they probably came to that race because they seen about it on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's some negativity on Facebook, but
yeah,
there is like an endless amount of slot car content on Facebook.
Tons.
It outweighs any blog or any website. Like 50-fold easily.
Yes.
I mean, you could get lost.
Yes.
In the slot car stuff on Facebook, and it might not be like exactly what you race or whatnot, but it's like endless.
Right. Yep, it's an invaluable tool for information, especially on a daily and the quickest possible manner you could ever think of.
But that's also bad because there is so much. It's easy to get lost or easy to not be able to find what you're looking for too.
Sometimes,
so that can be a little drawback sometimes.
Right, like I say about anything in life and everything in life, there's good and bad in anything. Okay, so. But I think in the case of slot cars and social media, I think the good outweighs the bad, 70-30 or maybe 80-20. I mean, yeah, you get some trolls and stuff that just go on and on and on about a certain subject or a certain thing or a certain
my point.
Yeah, well, clear your throat. But just it's like I always say, and like someone said the other day, if you don't like it, change the channel. I mean,
sure.
If you
don't have to be there,
right?
You don't have to watch it, right?
You don't have to watch it. You don't have to read it. You can just scroll right by it, or you can even ignore that person if you want.
That's what gets me about people who report things. Like,
right?
If you don't like it, just go on about your day.
Right. Well, if they don't like it, they don't want anyone else to not like it or like it.
Right.
So. Yeah, I mean, I've had a few things reported on Slot Car Race Talk, and it's like
some of the stuff's so silly. It's like, what is that? What do you like?
Right, and when they report it, they don't have to give a reason why they're reporting it. They just like they just report some, and then I go in and like, there's nothing that's been reported I have kept off of there.
Right.
But there are times I have to tell people, we do have rules here.
Right.
And like I said, we're all big boys. I mean,
sure,
we all can agree to disagree. We can discuss it. I always look at everything as a discussion, not an argument.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, I don't get on the Old World Herald that much, just because it just doesn't seem like there's ever a lot of content on there. So I don't tend to check there as often as I do Facebook or Sloplog.
Right.
On Sloplog, I like that it's very organized. That's the draw to it to me, but the drawback is that sometimes it's overly moderated,
A little sanitized.
Yeah. And then you go to like Slot Car Race Talk on Facebook, and it's like sometimes it's just complete chaos, because everyone knows it's not going to be
right
moderated, but then it like things get posted so fast you get lost almost sometimes,
Sure.
So sometimes it's hard to keep up with what is going on because there's so much stuff.
I mean, where can you get 300 posts in like, an hour?
Right.
So, and that's the thing too with Facebook. I mean, I shouldn't say everyone, but.
And Facebook is just so convenient for everybody.
So many people have it on their phones. I mean, that's what made Facebook to begin was once they put the app on everyone's cell phones, boom, So, everyone gets notifications. You can shut off notifications if you don't want to get notifications for certain things. But, I mean, it's just like instant information. And slot racers tend to be gossip hounds to begin with.
Right.
So no one's really got the notifications turned off. So it's boom, then, this guy replies, that guy replies, and, it gets into everybody giving their opinions or their knowledge or their experience or.
Sure. And everyone has their own pages or.
Sure.
Or whatnot. Like I said, there's just so much stuff.
Right. There's just tons of information on Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of racing series. That's how they do all their promoting, and they've got good series and stuff. And
I mean, like, so the slot blog to me is like thingies, retro, and vintage stuff mainly, with a little bit of flexi stuff. And then you have, then there's a couple drag sites that do just drag racing. And then there's Old World Herald, where it seems to be mainly wing cars and flexi racers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a perfect world, it would be nice if everyone
was on one page.
Agree to one thing, right? But I mean, never going to happen. But
it would be like if everybody's on the same rules everywhere, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah, and even the drag racing stuff. I mean, it's like there's twice as much drag racing content on Facebook than there is
tons of stuff,
scale cars or wing cars or anything like that.
Right. But it is quite entertaining and humorous.
Sure. Right.
On a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So, like I say, we're all gossip hounds, drama queens, or whatever. Some more than others. But
now, did you ever have a MySpace page?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I never had any kind of media thing until Facebook.
Now I had MySpace, and Facebook came along, and I was like, "This is the dumbest thing ever," and it took me years to finally get one.
I think I had a LinkedIn before I ever had a Facebook.
Yeah,
but never had a MySpace. I could never see any use or anything in a MySpace.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, it really was useless. I mean, it was.
I think it was useful at the time.
Yeah. Well, it was truly a social thing. That was not commercialized, really, like Facebook has become.
Well, yeah, I mean, but at the same time, that's what kind of makes Facebook so good. Because if you have a business or anything, you almost have to have a Facebook page nowadays because everyone, or a vast majority of people, are on Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to have Facebook.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I always say, the power of Facebook. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
well, I think it's I think the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah, definitely.
Social media.
Definitely.
And slot cars.
All right. Well, not to put you on the spot again, but did you come up with a secret word of the show?
I really didn't. Someone told me at the race last week, and they're like, "Here's your secret word for the show."
And you forgot it.
I forgot it. I
Okay.
totally spaced it.
Great.
Why don't you pick a secret word?
Secret word of the show. Ooh, I don't know. It's so tough to come up with one on the spot. Airbags. Secret word of
Airbags. There
the
you go. See what he's got on his mind?
show.
But you didn't earn your dollar.
Seatbelts and airbags.
But you didn't earn your dollar.
Everyone stay protected.
That's a different subject.
So
That secret word would be Trojan.
yeah. So
Airbags. That's the secret word. Yeehaw.
all right. Well, that's about all I got this week. You got anything else?
That's all I got. I'm working on some other stuff for upcoming shows, but
Okay.
maybe next week we'll have a history lesson.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in again. It's been 26 episodes, which is hard to believe. Congrats to the winners. Again, contact Mid-America for your prize packs.
Yep.
And that's about all I got. Everyone have fun and be safe this weekend.
Yep. Have fun at the races, and we'll talk about them next week and something else.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.